Alright guys, this is going to be a stream about Background Designer. I'm currently working my way through documentation. Fun, very fun, and I think that will be a while. So this is Background Designer. Basically it makes backgrounds and you plot with predefined brushes. Those brushes have very strong red, green, blue values so that it's easy to swap out for new colors and kind of make a custom scene, and it's a whole lot of funky features and stuff in there as well. So let's go ahead and boot this up. Now I'm just going to run it from Game Maker just in case I hit a bug along the way, which usually happens. It means I can kind of fix it on the fly. So when you open this, you get that kind of ZBrush feeling that what are all these buttons? What does pick a brush mean? And it's pointing over here. So instead of just like trying to spam click things with the word brush, have a look here. There's the word brushes. And here's your different brush sets. Still no brush, right? You have to click on one of the brushes, and as you hover over it, shows you a preview of what it's going to look like. Now these colors are based on these on the left. If you turn this off, you'll see what the actual brush looks like without the color being blended into it. For example, if I take these green tones and enable the preview new colors, you can see that cloud turns green, and we turn it off, we see the original colors. So you can place some clouds down. And you have to imagine how big you want your background to be in your game, because you can actually upscale this, and it doesn't just scale the pixels up, it actually redraws everything as best resolution it can based on the brush maximum resolution and things like that. So you might want to work in 3x HD so that you get even more resolution. That means you can draw smaller and then you can cover a bigger area. Now in the documentation you see this bottom part covers a wider part. All you have to do is click wrap mode to see that. And these clouds are weird, right? They're green. So I'm just going to right click to get new colors. There's nice blue ones. You can right click to get any sort of tones here. And you can change up any color of the brush. Now a good idea is to either have a look at the image down the bottom right here as you do this. You can see how it's going to change, or put the brush down, and as you change things, hold down control. So holding down control basically changes the last plot, the last stick or stamp that you made, right? And you can then start to sort of think about what kind of colors you want all of this to be. You can alt click to grab a color, just press control to update that. So holding down control works nicely as well. That's going to go for some interesting tones here. Right, so there's our cloud, and I can switch to another cloud, and it keeps the same colors, apart from the only thing it changes is these ranges get reset, and that will be an option in the future to whether you want to keep these or not, but it's kind of like a way of just giving you the full control back and not getting too confused. So I'm just going to undo it, and see as you undo it gives you the brush back. That's also going to be an option. In fact, this is it, plot fetching, right? So if you turn off plot fetching, it won't try and get the last brush that you're working on for that particular undo layer. So I'm just going to turn that off. And that way, if I was to change the brushes and I undo, it's not going to try and recall these, but with that on and you undo, it's going to recall. It kind of like grabs it back. It's a feature if you're interested in that sort of thing. Okay, cool. So I'm going to just bring down some of these tones and draw quite small, and I'll just draw some nice little clouds in here. Make some stylized look and feel to that. Let's make this white. Let's just control click to see how that looks. Little psychedelic clouds. So I'm going to call this my clouds, and because I've started in layer 10, I'm just going to actually cut everything out that layer and paste it in layer 0. Right, I'll call this clouds. And to reset the layer name, just press enter with nothing there. In fact, backspace. Make sure you backspace, and that will reset the layer there. Yep. Okay, so we've got our clouds layer, and maybe we want some mountains in front. So we've got some mountains here, and we can see how these look. And now a good way to get different colors is just to press tab, and you'll see down here it says last color picking method used was local, which means it tries to get it from an area around about the brush, and you can kind of maybe sample around about this cloud. So every third click was local, every second click was document, and every third click was random. In fact, this one's quite good. So I'm going to put this down just in front of the clouds here. And this has got a little mountain. You can press X to flip, or you can use these up here, so that will flip horizontally. Or you can flip vertically if you want. You know, kind of feeling of being in a cave or something in the foreground. If you do have something in the foreground, use one of the layers up here, and be sure to add some contrast to your brush, like that. You go get a nice sort of cave entrance sort of feeling. Okay, so that would be foreground. Now we've got our background way down here, so it's going to be our mountains. What else can I add? I can do more mountains, why not? So let's say I want to recall these colors. I'll keep the plot fetching on. I'm just going to undo until I've got this back. I'm going to turn off plot fetching and I'll redo. And that's just a nice way of getting those colors back and the brush back and things, if I want to go kind of back to what I had there. There might be a better way of doing this in the future, like, you know, kind of like clicking and maybe it analyzes what you've plotted down. It's a bit trickier to do and may take a bit longer to implement, but that's an idea. So a few more little mountainy things here and there. This one works, but I don't like that bit. You can use that to break up some areas that look the same. Okay, I guess that's quite nice for a little mountain range. Now I've got some brushes that I made on Procreate that I want to add, and there's some other ones that I was experimenting with. So I'm just going to load one in. I'm in the user section and it's one of those slots. I'm just going to go my downloads, and I've got this funky cloud one, I'll call this. Okay, so a really pretty looking cloud. Let's change from, so if I plop that down here, I change from the original, let's just click Control to see that gradually change to the new colors. And that's like an immediate, you know, nice looking cloud. And yeah, I can take out any bits I don't like, bring in other bits. Let's try some different colors. I can right click to make all of these white. And yeah, that's quite nice. and kind of give it a unique look. You can also press F2 to F1 to randomize these mixes, as well as some opacity. And I've talked these about, and I will change this to flip X and random scale to get even more out of this. I can kind of add some extra clouds in front of these. This is great if you don't have a tablet, you know, you can just use the mouse. Now you can also use the tablet, but it doesn't care about pressure sensitivity. It's just a nice way of getting stylized art for free. Not for free, it costs you $5, only $5, but it's a nice way of getting something looking stylized. Okay, so this one we'll do Funky Cloud 2. And we can see if I bring that in, it looks like this. If I change it to new colors, I'm just going to use Tab to randomize some colors. And F1 or F2 to reset that, 0 for full opacity. And let's just go a layer above. I'm going to rotate these around, get some nice effects there. Just turn these off if you want control of it. You see I'm still working in mainly the background. Interesting kind of effects there. Okay, I think I've got a third one that made this one. Again, because it's using red, green, blue channels, I can use those. So let me just plop this down, see how it looks, and then I can come over here and just hit Control for that to, make sure I'm on new color, hit Control, and then I can mess around with some tones here. Let's say I want to make some sort of water reflection. I'll just change this up to be some tones that make sense there. Right, and I could go ahead and let me just undo that one and go ahead and sort of put some marks down in the ground here. Now, I'm not too fond of the angle of the brush. I want it to have more perspective here. So what I'm going to do is, so I've got my Funky Cloud 3. I'm going to go into 3D Distort Mode and choose that one. Now let's bring that into new color again so we can see what's going to happen. And I'm just going to do some some tilting on this and make it look more like that. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm just going to go to a unique layer and Alt click on it and just do a Capture 3D and draw this brush onto this layer. Okay, so I should have something here. I don't know why I'm not seeing it. Just Control, click back. Let's just try that again. So 3D Distort Mode. I'm going to switch to Funky Cloud 3. Let's keep the original colors. I'm just going to scale out and do Capture 3D. It should be giving me a new brush here. And have I found a new bug? That's weird. So interesting new bug has appeared. Ah, do you know, I think it's something to do with this. Okay, so I'm going to take note of that because I've never had that switched like that before, and I'm pretty sure if I do that again, yeah, okay, so I need to consider that button. It's always good to find bugs, right? You know, every time I test this, I'm always finding a bug. So I'm just going to take a note of it in my little development jar here. Should be an easy fix. Should be an easy fix, he says, enthusiastically willing to fix it. But now that I've switched that back, you guys know how to get around that if you see it. So what I want to do is go back into 3D Distort Mode, choose my brush, and just zoom out so it fits in there. I'm just going to alt click so that's kind of all we see, and I can do I to ignore the background if I want. Anyway, once I'm happy with the angle of this, I can click Capture 3D. Gives me a 3D version of it, and I want to just paste that down and then capture it. Let's just turn the brush off. Okay, I'm just going to capture that like so. Call this Cloud 3 Tilted. So that immediately makes up a new brush for me. I'm just going to control click on the eye. Again, I'll just do an undo to get rid of the temp 3D one, and then I'm going to use Cloud 3 Tilted, turn the brush back on, and now I'll bring this to the new colours, and that's me got a kind of nice angled version. I'm going to put the opacity quite low, and I'll put flip X on, and start bringing in some things like that. Let's just get a nice sort of C. So you see how the foreground is bigger, the background is smaller. That's basically what gives it that perspective. I'm going to take away these. Let's just right click that and bring the opacity up a bit more. Let's go for pure white. Let's see if I change for something else. That one's no good. Wanted too much. Yeah, I quite like this one. And then just do even more bits. That, and I've got a little kind of choppy C. So all of that is in this layer 16. I don't exactly want all of that there. I want it to be more foregroundish. So I'm going to bring that down to layer 2. So I'll just do cut. And you see it starts to flash, meaning there's cut data. And I'll just paste it down here. So that's me got my water. Now a cool way to visualize this is to go up to the Parallax Mode, and that basically switches everything to parallax, where you get this 3D effect, and it's really nice to see, so you get an idea of how that might work in a game if you had some sort of parallax. So imagine this top bit is like a cave entrance or something. It's going to turn that off. It's another bug. Okay, I turned it off, but it's not went off. So if I press P a couple of times, yeah, that's fixed it. Okay, so parallax toggle button off, not working. Lovely. 2 bugs found. I'm just bug finding. Might as well go and grab my net. Right. It's nice what's happening so far, and like the cool thing is like these layers are wrappable, and do you know what I might do? I might actually make it that it can pan these layers around like a scrolling effect, just for the sake of having something move. And it'd be nice to have these clouds just passing by, scrolling away. It's like a kind of an option, like scroll this layer. Okay, I'll try it. I can feel you guys suggesting it. scroll layer. I'll look into it because it is possible, especially if it's in wrap mode. It would only really work in wrap mode, and it's not impossible. I know how I would do it. Right, so there's our pretty little sky. We need something in the foreground. Like, I just want to finish this cave off. So let's go to the foreground again, and let's go for, let's see, we've got other rocks and stuff here. Let's use some rocks. Now I want to adopt these colors, so I'm going to undo all the way back. All the way back. Let's do color fetching, plot fetching. You can see how it grabs each image as it goes. So there it is there. I'm going to turn off plot fetching and just Control Shift Z until I've got everything back. Okay, so there you go. I've got this rock back, and that's cool. I'm going to save this color setup. I just want to like try recall a different one, see how this looks. That's not bad. Let's make some modifications to that one actually. So I'll plop that down there. It gave me a random flip. That's fine. Let's put that there, and I'm just going to change the colors up a bit, a little bit warmer. Alright, and let's go for one of these rocks. These rocks are hand drawn, so they don't look quite as good as they could. Let's just bring to there. It could look better. These are even more hand drawn rocks, but more in a painty style. Let's change these up, darker and warmer. And of course there's this little range here as well. We can scale that up until it goes to 1, and we can wrap this in here. It's a little effect, and it's quite nice because it looks blurry. Right, in fact I'm going to like cut everything out of here. I'll cut that down. I'm going to move it down to layer 20, paste. What's this, 4, 1, and we can still work in the foreground here. I'll just put this in here, like that. Alright, so now we've got a couple of layers. I'm just going to do B and P, and we can see how those look. I can do Shift and P to increase the parallax power, to get a better feel for it, like that. I think I'll do some hanging things from the top as well. So I'm just going to press P, turn that off. Let's go to the let's see, that's the furthest away, the closest point, that is that one, and then that's a bit further away, so we can go just in front of that. We can call this like reeds or something. Now I do have some reeds, got foliage here, we've got some other things, something line, some reserved ones, curves. We've got Maddie Wispy, which is from a Maddie brush set, and we can see how these look. So I'll just flip them vertically, and yeah, I guess I could add some of these in. I don't want them all, I just want this one like random between these two, so you can control click to multi select, and then let's just change the colours up. That's quite nice, maybe a bit more green. Yeah, that's cool. And then flip X, flip scale, and we can sort of drop some of these in up here. Whatever you do in this side, it's going to do the other half for you, which is nice. And I can even do like a series of these, kind of dropping down. It's great because you don't have to learn how to use a tablet. You can just click with the mouse, and pretty much this whole scene's been done with the mouse, and it's, you know, a nice little, it could be a main title screen, and it'd be cool to export. You can export your individual layers, so you can scroll those separately. Yeah, it's really nice. So there's the little mountains in the background there. And it's weird because we're also seeing the sprite in front of it as you come over to that side. That's a little bug. Okay, another minor bug. So we're seeing the brush preview over layer when you're at the eye. Okay, it's about 3 or 4 bugs I've found so far. So we can do that, and then we can maybe get some little weird plants and put them up here as well. Let's see, this one's kind of cool. Let's just tab till we get some more interesting colors. That's quite nice. Let's pop a couple of these down. Let's change that brown for something darker. And we can come in front of this foreground as well and just add anything else. Now, if you do want to make your brush more blurry, a cool tip is to, let's say, just go on any layer you don't use, alt click on it and make the brush quite small. Right, make sure you turn on texture filter as well. Make the brush quite small, and then do a capture of it. I call this blurry one. Right, and then when you scale up, it automatically gets a bit blurry. Now it's not very nice because it's got all these jaggy pixels and things. I'm just going to undo that and control click here, but it's definitely a way of throwing something out of focus a bit more, and by the time it's mixed up with other bits, it's not too bad. Even a little opacity can also help. Instead of me doing this and rotating with E and R keys, I'm going to change it so that we get some random rotation. So you can click that. Let's just turn texture filter off. I like it off, nice and clear. So we can do this and we'll get random rotation. But the problem is then it's from the center point. Maybe looking into ways to offset the brushes, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, we've got nice little bits there. You can also add in some grass. We've got some grass coverage here. And I basically want to adopt those colours as well. Let's just bring the opacity up. It's going to get rid of that for a darker green. And that maybe for a yellowy tone. A bit nicer. You can use a texture filter at any point in time as well if you want. So that's, oops, I've done a bit of a boo-boo there, so I'm going to undo until I go back to that point where I've done a mistake here. Go back, delete it, and then I want to like get everything back. I can just do Control-Shift-Z and hold it down. That's me back to where I was. Cool, so that's all done. Let's try the Parallax mode. Shift and P to give me even more power. B to turn that brush off. So we can see everything kind of moving in a sort of parallax effect. If you want things to move more, just separate them up even more. So like this foreground, I'm going to cut everything out there and paste it down at 14. I'll call this new 4. And then I'm going to like just backspace on that to reset the name. Reads, let's copy, cut those out and put them down at 18. Reads new, and then just double click to change the name, and backspace to get rid of the old name. And that's that. So now we're going to parallax mode. Oops. forget there was anything in that. No. Okay, parallax mode, and now you can see things move at a slightly different rate, and it's just a nicer way to visualize it. So if you do need to do something in between some layers, like in between these mountains and the water, in fact I can just do it straight on the mountains here. I can put some, I just want a kind of gradient in there, like fog. I do have some fog just here. This one's quite good. I'll just make everything white by color picking white and then right click it, and then I'll press F1 a few times to get a different, there we go, a different kind of variation, and then maybe 3 or 4 just to get, I'm going to turn off the random rotation. I'll turn that off. This just gives me some ground mist. Now I'm Alt and right clicking to get all 4 colours to be the same, and I can always use F2 or F1 to get some variation in the texture itself. Takes a while to get used to, but it's a powerful feature. So I can always go back and change the colour of the sky a bit more here, make it stand out a bit more on the ground as well, like get more blue in there and really push those tones. Yeah, and that is pretty much it. So now we have this very nice, tranquil looking scene where you've got the parallax effect. So if you're kind of looking around, I'm doing this very slowly because I'm going to time lapse this video and I don't want this bit to rush about too much. Should we add a sun in? So let's go above the water, and in fact let's go behind the clouds, or yeah, behind the clouds, and let's add a sun. Now I do have a nice shape for the sun. Speed to turn that on, and I'm going to put a nice glowing sun up here. Let's alt click this color, let's just right click it so they all get that, and I can play around with the values here. So I'll just hold down control. I can play around with the strength of all of these masks and see which one does what. So I want a little bit of fade from maybe some cloud cover in front or anything like that. And maybe this a little bit brighter. These a little bit more red. Oh, that's quite nice as well. Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. So now that I've got that, I can, you know, flip this vertically and put the reflection there. But that would be that'd be too weird, right? The sun is so bright, it's turned this luminous orange colour, and we want to kind of reflect some of that. Is basically what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to use this one's quite nice. So I'm going to control click. Oops. Now I just did a mistake there. I came over here, chose land, and came over here and pressed control. I didn't want to do that. So I've messed up my settings now. The whole fact that the brushes are reset in the brush selection is reset in the resetting the ranges is probably problematic because you don't want it to upset your rhythm. But I like the way this now looks more rounded, so I'm going to leave that in. That's a happy accident for once. But what I want to do is, I don't want to use control. I just want to, well, as long as I put something down and I use control, it's going to affect that last one, right? So now I can think about some different tones to make this. And, you know, would I want to see little hints of it like that. Let's do random flip X, we've got that random scale, and now I do want this to be much more apparent. So I'm going to bring that up. Let's see. Let's just right click that. I want it to be even warmer, this more prominent than that. So I think because there's water fronted, there we go. Let's just change these up now. I'm being careful, you know, I can take my time with this. I don't have to rush. Don't have to rush anything. Just control right click to get some orange tones in there. Let's make some a bit bigger. Let's go back to that funky cloud. Yeah, this one was quite good. Let's take away, see again, it's like resetting the, maybe I'll make that an option, like reset brush features, but sometimes when you've got options, it's hard to remember, right? But it just depends, you know, if you want it there forever. Let's make all this much brighter now. Right click that and bring all that in. And there you go. So that's how all that looks. Very loads of motion in there, so I'm going to pan across nice and slowly for the sake of the time lapse. And you get this tileable effect. So all of that background was done without using a single paintbrush, just plotting with what you've got here and bringing in your own ones. So I can do a replay by doing Control and Enter. Kind of replays everything. Shift and Enter will try and replay more. If there's any undos, less, you know, if you've undoed a few times, it will kind of redo those. That's purely an optional thing. But yeah, there you go. That's Background Designer, kind of in a nutshell. I hope you enjoy using it. It's on Itch and it's on ArtStation. Oops, that's the wrong asset. Here it is here. They're both $4.99, but if you jump onto ArtStation and you use this link, so I'm just going to copy the link and paste it here. That's what it looks like. It's https://www.artstation.com/a/1431145. So that's /a1431145. That will give you an extra 15% off in terms of it being commission come back to you. So as long as you've got an ArtStation account and you use that link, you'll earn 15%. And this is only like £3 at the minute, and it's updates forever. You get updates all the time with it for free. I'll keep working on it. I've been working on it since December 2020, so it's about 4 months of development so far, so it's going to fast pace. I'm working on documentation right now, so bear with me with that. I'll give you a quick summary of what what everything is. So I'll just turn that parallax effect off. So up here is your file menu. You can open and save background files. I'll save this one. I'm just going to call this scene from a cave. I'm just going to write the word DEP for dependencies. It means that it's using some of my user brushes. If I delete these funky clouds and I load this file, it's no longer going to load these brushes because I can't find them. So they need to be imported, and they need to reside in the custom brushes folder. as you can see when I loaded them in, it's either created them or what have you, and it creates this list. Now you can always edit this list. If you do lose something, just give it the reference back, and it will do its best to find those. They might have to be in the right order, I forget, but anyway, as long as they've got the right number next to them is what I mean. And you can always look at the file. So for example, that one that I just saved, where is that called? Scene from Cave. Hello. Is it saved yet? Let me try that again. So save. I saved it under downloads in there, so let's call it Scene from a Cave Dep. Right, and if I open that file, where have you gone? Yeah, it's there. You'll see it's got various references here. These are your that's layer information. I think that's opacity and enabled, and I'm not too sure what the space is for, just to separate them. So that's your layer stuff. Sky color, and I think that's the two colors. That's the number of plots being used, and this is all the plots. So you see Funky Cloud's been used here. So all it needs to know is the name, Funky Cloud. So as long as you load that brush in, it should be fine. Right, as long as it's in the brush sort list. But Background Designer takes care of this for you. It's just in case by accident you've deleted some files and it won't load them. But you don't just have that option. You've got the option of just exporting the image. And remember, like I was saying before, you can scale up 3 times. So if I do scale 3 times HD and do export image, put it in desktop, let's call it From a Cave. So that will take a while to save. The more plots you have and the bigger the image, it's going to take a little bit longer. You have to leave it, right? If you start spam clicking it, you're just going to upset the software and it will crash. So just be patient with that kind of stuff, especially file saving and whatnot. Once the text starts scrolling again at the top, that's it finished. There you go. So that's it done. I'm just going to jump into Photoshop to show you proof of the pudding that actually works. And I'm not lying. I'm not trying to swindle you. So there you go, From a Cave. There it is there. To test that it does the wrapping effect, I just go to Filter, Other, Offset, and just change the horizontal value. And there you go. So you can see there's no obvious seam down here. There's no obvious divide. It's pixel perfect. And it's a massive file, so massive size. It's 5760, 3240. So if your game is kind of like way down here, then you've got plenty of scope for like that parallax background, and you can also export the layers. Another cool feature I've not showed you actually is the pixel modes. So if you want it to look like an old retro Commodore 64, there's that. You can change the dither range and the pattern. None of this really breaks anything. You're not committed to this, you can switch it back. There's another mode here with a bit more of an extended color palette and smaller pixels. This next one's the Sega Master system. And then there's a few custom ones that I've made. And I'm going to be opening up more options in the future, like making your own color palettes and things like that, as well as like proper brush making with the ability to erase parts of a brush, like maybe take an existing brush, take it into the brush editing window and make some changes and save it back out as a new one, because you don't want to overwrite these files. So I lock all these out. You can't change these, you can only select them, but I lock these out just because, you know, dependencies and whatnot of any files that you try and load. So if I was to clear all this I'll just go to reset. It's going to ask me if I'm sure, do I want to reset everything? I could say no and then save it again. Have I made any changes? Not really. I'll just bring that back to HD anyway. I'll just do, yeah, I'll just do a reset. And then I can use spacebar to shuffle everything up, just to show you that everything kind of works. And then I'm going to open my scene from a cave. So it's going to reset everything here first. So it asks me that, and then it loads it back up. Nothing's missing. Everything looks good. Put the parallax mode on again. Have a look around, and yeah, it all looks really cool. So I hope you enjoyed looking at this, and I hope you enjoyed buying it and playing around with everything. I've just recently added a few more buttons here as shortcuts to like rotation control and undo, but it's basically rotation is E and R. E for rotate left, R to rotate right. Shift and E will do it faster. Shift and R will faster. Control and E will do 5-degree increments. Same with R. Page up, page down does 45-degree increments. But I'm going to turn those into buttons, so don't worry about that. Shortcut keys are cool, right? Blender became well known for shortcut keys. Why can't Background Designer? They both begin with B and they have a D in the name, so don't be a D and buy this. Sorry. What else can I say? So that was the other shortcuts. Undo is Control Z. Redo Control Shift Z. Redo in the chosen layer is Control Alt Z. So for example, if I did click a cloud in layer 9 here behind this, and I wanted that to be in a different layer, alright, I could copy out and paste it, whatever, but a quick way to do that is just to undo and go to the layer I want it to be in, do Control Alt Z, now it's in front. Or vice versa, if I put it there, Control Z, go down to another layer, Control Alt Z. Alright, so you can totally do everything. Another cool feature that I've not told you about in this session is this Recolor Layer. As you can go to any layer, right, this mountain layer for example, and click Preview. And what that's going to do is take everything in that layer and give it these colours. How nice is that? Whoa. And you can muck about the pixel mode just to see how it looks. This is all kind of like preview, right? You don't have to commit to this. I can just click it again, that comes back off, right? If I like it, I click bake, but that's it. There's no way back after that. It's kind of like me committed to it, but I like how that looks. I'm tempted, but I might like how many of this looks because I'm bored of the way I've been seeing this, like green, purple, dark blue, not so bad, great. You know, just try these things out. You can just try these things out. So I can turn that back off again. It basically affects every brush in that layer. Let's try it with the water. Preview. So it's whatever layer you're on. So if I have that switched on and I just start cycling through layers, you can see what I'm changing. It's a good way of like highlighting what's in that layer as well. Pretty nice that. So yeah, just turn that off again. So if you do like the changes, you just click bake. It will take everything in that layer, give it these colours, and there's kind of no way back. So make sure you're saving your file often. There's an autosave that happens if you accidentally clear things, even though it asks you, are you sure? It will create an autosave. That autosave is located in a folder called local app data, I think it is. So if you go to %app data, right, and then go up to local, and you'll see the version of Background Designer here. You go in there and there'll be a autosave clear brushes. So it's going to, like, before you cleared everything, it would have done a save, right? Oh no, it's this one, sorry, pre-clear save. And this one's not done anything because I've not cleared anything, right? It's also an autosave file. in case it crashes. But it's not done any of these, so what good is that? But at least I know I've saved the file right. Maybe I'll have a periodic autosave and a number of autosaves as well. See, I could just keep going with the options for this. I mean, 4 months in and it already feels like quite a lot, so I could just keep going. But I really like how that looked. What was that one? So preview and these ones. But you can also like change these up, remember? So as you preview it and it's in that mode, you can switch this around to anything. You don't have to just go with these swatches. I'm just right clicking to recall them. You can left click to place them. I can make them all look the same if I left click. If I middle mouse click, it resets them. Right? And if you don't have a middle mouse button, definitely get a mouse with a middle mouse button. Switch that to this mode. And yeah, just kind of check out the cool stuff. Just turn that back off again and parallax mode off and you're good. So it's completely usable. If you want to export the layers, you just go to export layers, Control L. I'm just going to do a cave layer test just to show you what happens. It basically saves out the gradient sky as a separate layer, and it saves out any layers with something in it, even if you've named them or not. It's going to save those out. So if I jump into Photoshop again, this proof of the pudding, open that up, you can see we've got cave layer test, gradient background, we've got the clouds, the foreground, cave test, the mountains. So 1, 2, 3, basically all these layers, right? Open them up. And you can basically rebuild your parallax effect inside Unity or Unreal Engine or Game Maker, whatever you use. You're going to have this nice sort of tileable element that you can use, a foreground bit, and that's your sky. You can change that up if you want a day and night cycle, you know, make it go darker, whatever shaders you got on it, or you want to just like blend it between two. Loads and loads of options. There's a little plant brush. You make your own little brushes as well, which is cool. You know, little sprites that you can pop into your game. And oh, hello. And yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoy using it, and I'll catch you soon.